And somebody else that's coming for you is the creature from the Black Lagoon. And should that be canceled right now? That's the question, because we're getting a reboot one more time. Let's check about that reboot. Let's talk about the creature from the Black Lagoon. Talk about reboots, remakes, redos, everybody. Yeah, right. James Wan coming out to direct the new creature of the Black Lagoon. Now, he's pitching. Of course, we know James Wan from before the Aquaman. He did the Conjuring horror franchise. And now he's taking on this new cult classic with Universal Studios. Well, he's been pitching it to them, trying to make this happen. And they're calling it as a grounded, modernized retelling that leans into the visceral horror, which is still paying respect to the original. This tried to happen before, because we're getting to the Dark Universe. They're going to do this during the Dark Universe. That kind of fell off the map. Of course, a lot of us wanted to see it when they were doing the Tom Cruise Mummy. We're going to build this world and have Invisible Man and all this, and it all fell through. But this actually first started in 1954, the Monster Classic. We tried doing one in the 80s. We tried doing the 90s with John Carpenter, the 2000s with Gary Ross, and now, 2024, we're pushing forward and we're making a new creature from the Black Lagoon to find out this random creature, if he's worth that swim through the lagoon one more time. Will it creep you out? Will it be horror-based? The thing is, with James Wan attached to this, I automatically say it's got to be like a horror thing more than it ever has been before, right? He's got to be killing people. He's going to be grabbing you from the lake. You're going to swim and pulling you down and like munching on your butthole. You know what I mean? Like some crazy shit.
Oh, now I'm on board.
Oh, some crazy stuff's going down with this. I think, you know, maybe not munching on that, but we're biting you, taking a bite out of your crime. You know what I mean? Taking a bite out of you, eating you, killing people, slaughtering. It'll be graphic, gory, hopefully in that horror phase, but still paying respect to this creature. Mike, do you want to see this? Do you think this is a great idea to have this going forward now? Or should it have happened during that time when we were doing the original Dark Universe? Like, is there a spot at Universal for this right now, Mike?
Is the Dark Universe different than the Monsterverse, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. The Monsterverse, it was a Dark Universe, what they were calling their Monsterverse.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Dark Universe failed. Yeah, Dark Universe failed,
Monsterverse
so Monsterverse
WB.
could yeah.
Dark Universe is Universal.
Wolfman's got nards, Mike. Wolfman's got nards.
Okay. Good information to have before I render my comment.
But the Dark Universe is what they were doing over there to make like a new version of all the monsters moving forward, you know. And then we had the Tom Cruise Mummy one. We're gonna push forward with Johnny Depp being the Invisible Man. We're gonna get Russell Crowe was gonna be. I almost said Dr. Dolittle. Yeah, so we're going to go into this whole world. But the Monsterverse is really what they had before the original 50s versions and all that, but they were calling it the Dark Universe moving forward to make a new generation of like a league of extraordinary gentlemen, but with all these monsters coming together to like take down people and like solve fucking mysteries and murder people at the same time.
Well, presumably that's what the creature from the Black Lagoon is going to be doing. He's going to be coming out of the lagoon with his Sherlock Holmes pipe and deer hunter hat and solving crimes.
I mean, ideally, right? That's what we're going to try to do.
It sounds fun. I'm on board with that idea. My real only experience with this kind of movie is from basically the crappy Roger Corman knockoffs that Mystery Science Theater always did. So I actually don't know if the creature from the Black Lagoon, which we have plenty of love for here in the chat, and I'd love to hear more about, I don't really know if there's some deeper kind of universal human story like Frankenstein oriented. I would suspect it's something like that. Where the creature has more depth, that he's more than a monster, is what I suspect. Any good monster movie is we're the real monsters, right? Like that's the George Romero reveal. I'm hopeful, Brian. I've always wanted the Monsterverse to succeed, even though like I don't think that the Tom Cruise take on the Mummy was the best version. Like
blasphemy.
I wanted it to work. I wanted it to take off because I do think that these creatures have some cachet in the cultural consciousness, and whenever you've kind of built that up an idea within the space of your viewership, like at large. Like these things exist beyond the movies. Like they've put something out to us. So I think that irrespective of whatever their initial cultural impact was, that there's something there that you can work off of. So I think if you get a good script, you're gonna come away with something interesting. And I think this movie in particular, like so many people have wanted a run at it. Like Guillermo del Toro was the big name that popped out at me while I was reading the articles. But
as you keep hearing Shape of Water in the chat too, talk about which he did that, which is very similar in a lot of ways, right? This is very similar to the Creature of the Black Lagoon.
Yeah.
There's some similarities there. I don't think it's exactly a pickup of that original story.
But it kind of has that same kind of feeling, except there's more love to this. And this, I mean, the creature was just kind of...
If you got fins on your ears, then the comparison is like, okay.
It's ready to go.
Sense. Yeah.
So, Mike, you check this out. Do you think this is a good idea moving forward? And James Wan's, again, horror, so it's got to be horror-based, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna check the online reviews, but I wouldn't dismiss it out of hand. No way. Like it could be good, and it could totally reboot the whole idea, which I'm about.
Yeah, make it something different.
I'd be all for this. Yeah,
you're about this,
I'd be
Sean?
all for this. Yeah, I mean, they're making a big play right now in comics. You had the art up earlier. Of the Creature of the Black Lagoon comic series. It was
okay. That art was beautiful. Issue. Like that got me just seeing that one composed shot.
Yeah, there's been a big push between that, and then they also did a Dracula, which was very well received by James Tynion, who's one of the most sought after kind of creators right now in comics. And then you've got Ram V with this, and then Frankenstein, I believe, is going to follow this. With Matt Walsh, I believe. I think that's it. But no, they're making a push in comic books. I think horror is the way to go with this kind of stuff. Dracula, you could probably throw some little romance in there if you want. Frankenstein, give me some horror with that. I think it's a misunderstanding. Maybe it's a workplace comedy with Frankenstein. I gotta fill out timesheets. What are we doing? But no, I think this is good. I think this is they're just timeless characters, things that are cross-generationally appeal. Like your parents might have seen this growing up. They want to share it with their kids, who will share it with their kids, and so on and so forth. The technology's evolved, storytelling's evolved. It's not the same kind of damsel in distress story. Take a second look at it, and James Wan, I think he could probably do something interesting with the story. So excited to see it. Yeah,
I think he's the man for the job. I think if you can't do the Guillermo del Toro role, I think that he would be the guy. And it's just
I think again, like Dark Universe failed because of the whole oh shit, we need to build something because Marvel's we're leaving money on the table by not having a shared universe, so we got to rush it. And that was the downfall of all of that shit. And Mummy did okay, but not great. I mean, when you put out a trailer with isolated screaming audio, it's gonna kind of ruin people's impressions.
That was insane. That was insane.
I do want to shout out. Mike had a very subtle pun in there, by the way. We're talking about Creature of the Black Lagoon, and he talks about depth. That was good.
Oh,
nice.
2 points to Mike.
Intentional.
It was really neat. Yes.
It was intentional, wasn't it, Mike? It wasn't intentional.
Yeah, so intentional.
He got it in by accident.
Thirsty Daddy, over there on the Thirsty Daddy Island, do you see these creatures ever? And should we actually film them, or should we leave them swimming in the abyss?
Well, to be honest with you, I'm not a big horror movie fan at all. But I want to see this succeed for one simple reason. The original came out the same year I was born. So it's got to be good.
Do you think? But do you think that that's going to be something that's going to be epic though nowadays? People are going to want to check this out, or does it even have an audience for it?
It'll have a nice run because there's a lot of horror film people out there. It'll get a nice run. It'll make some money, but it's not going to be the biggest thing of the year, even close.
Did you see any of the renditions of this before?
Yeah, of course I have. I mean, the original was funny. Called it a horror, but come on.
You're like, look at this guy. He's not really scaring anybody.
As the guy said earlier, look where the the costumes have gone, where the writing has gone. Everything's evolved.
Yeah.
That's a joke to look at, in today's society.
I think
GR, don't you think there's something to be said for that style of movie making, even if it's campy, for playing it straight rather than say Marvel, even if they're trying to do something seriously, they make a joke out of frickin' anything. I'm desperate for some old school.
See, I hear the word monster and I immediately think of my ex-wife, so I don't want to watch it.
Man, we're hitting so many levels on this. This is great.
Not a horror fan.
A lot of horror
Thirsty
there.
Daddy himself, ladies and gentlemen.
It'll keep you up
My ex wouldn't agree with me, trust me.
keep you up at night. That's for sure. I think this is a good idea.
If I thought of her, it would.
I think it's a good idea though, overall, GR. I think this is some maybe it'll be a good breath of fresh air for this franchise, and you bring it into a different genre that never got to actually conquer before, and maybe it will cause them to rethink the MonsterVerse and the Dark Universe and come back to it in a way that we weren't before. And as Sean's saying, there's more opportunities going forward too.
If it makes money, they will, Brian. We'll get more.
That's what it comes down to, Mike. I mean, it makes money. Yes.
Everything is, yes. Again, they're all kind of waiting to see. They're tossing a lot of shit out there of the IP that they already have invested in. We're not getting that many new ideas from these kind of groups right now, and they're just hoping something catches fire, and then they'll shove that down our throats for 3 years, 3 or 5 years, whatever the fuck it was.
It's like I said earlier today, Brian. Money talks and bullshit walks.
Yo, player, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when we are live. And if you are able to join our Patreon, please join. Because the Pep Star needs more snickety snacks. Because I'm hungry. Holla back. Love y'all.